if a field trip is risky? Yeah, I just give you an example. Yeah, the kids want to go to the museum and yeah, there's a sudden earthquake. And no, that's not risky. They don't know that there's an earthquake. So how will you know if a field trip is risky? Please.
How would you also know if a field trip is not risky?
I'm asking you first.
You will never know. That's why your body comes in the campus.
So you're saying you would prefer to risk the lives of people who are not 100% assured that if they go to these field trips, that their lives are going to be in safe hands?
The earthquakes, you can predict, but it's risky. Yeah, just so you know. Earthquakes are risky.
So you're saying you prefer to risk lives of people?
Yeah, you're banning field trips because of risky. Yeah, so let's move on to my next question. What is your basis that field trip is not educational but just enjoyment? You stated it in your speech. Did you have a research or basis that field trips is not educational but just...
I did not say field trips is not education. I said not all students who go to field trips are actually learning first-hand experience, because once they're in that situation, they feel like, oh, they're distracted because of all the fun, what they're gonna get out from socializing with their fellow students and etc.
Also, is that risky? No, it's not. Yeah, so the last question is,
Maybe.
why do you think CHED guidelines exist? I just want your opinion. Why do you think CHED guidelines exist? Please.
Of course they exist because these are the ways to lead the schools. These are guidelines to lead the schools with things that deal with field trips that are out of the school. But at the same time, why do you think these guidelines are made? It's because there's also back to my point. There's always a risk. That's why these guidelines are made in the first place.
So, I don't want to mock you, but have you read the guidelines, ma'am?
Yes, I have, but I'm not memorized them.
Yeah, so I think that's all my questions.
Which shouldn't be.
Alright, thank you, speakers. And now, the third negative speaker, you can render your constructive speech.
So from the speech of the second speaker, she said, I know I just pointed out from the past speakers, our grandparents did not have field trips during their time. I think I do not agree, because I asked my grandparents, he said that they had field trips during their time. So I just want to point it out. So I will proceed to my practicability or my constructive speech. A research in Education Next shows that enriching field trips contribute to the development of students into civilized young men and women who possess more knowledge about art, have stronger critical thinking skills, exhibit increased historical empathy, display higher levels of tolerance, and have a greater taste for consuming art and culture. Recognizing that learning outside the classroom is an essential part of the learning process and personal development for students, ladies and gentlemen, we believe that field trips should not be banned from schools, and that banning such because of safety and financial reasons is an act of ignorance. Here's why. The Department of Education and Commission on Higher Education imposed policies and guidelines on field trips that, if just strictly followed, accidents due to negligence and misconduct will be avoided. Under Article 7, Section 14 of SCHED Memorandum Order 17, Series of 2012, briefing and debriefing program shall be undertaken. Briefing shall include, among others, precautionary measures. Also, risk assessment procedures for educational tours or field trips must be discussed with concerned students, including parents or guardians. Regarding the basic education, DepEd set strict guidelines which can be found in DepEd Order 52, Series of 2012. We live in a world where time and unforeseen occurrences exist, which means some calamities that lead to accidents can't be predicted and may happen anytime. We also believe that actions are followed by consequences and that we should do the right actions to produce good outcomes. As an example, if students will just be properly briefed with the precautionary measures, incidents due to misconduct and negligence will be avoided. Educational field trips have been a part of the learning process throughout the history, not only in the Philippines, but also in the whole world. The reason why it exists for so long now is because of its feasibility. Simply put, field trips are practical because of the real-life scenarios or hands-on experiences it gives the students. Such scenarios cannot be provided or experienced in the four walls of a classroom. Field trips are the application of the theories and ideologies taught in the classroom to the real world. To reiterate, an educational field trip is not only being done in Philippine schools, it is recognized activity to supplement what is learned in our classroom in the whole world. There is no doubt that not all that students need to learn may be learned in the four corners of the classroom. We need to balance the theories we learn inside the classrooms with practice outside the real world. Ladies and gentlemen, the solution to the concern is not banning educational field trips. The solution is regulation and monitoring to ensure that guidelines are being strictly followed. Thank you.